Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello, and welcome back to the channel where it's a bit of an AMG day. Today we are heading with the GTR Pro to drive over to Topaz to collect the GTR Roadster that's now completed with the PPF, to then take the two cars to the Mercedes-Benz dealership to drop this car off for its 1-year service, and then bring the Roadster back home. So the first, I guess we can say, proper drive in the GTR Roadster, but we need to take the Pro to get over to Topaz. There is a little bit of a story, which I think is quite funny, about this car being parked in its current space, because the other day, when we basically did the reverse of what we're doing today and started here with the GTR Roadster, took it over to Topaz to take it through the wash bay and get started with the PPF, and then came back with this, which at that stage they had fitted the new diffuser and installed the PPF on it, I had the problem that I needed to park it in what is quite a narrow space for a very wide car, when there was another car here. And it wasn't just here, it was right up to the white lines. So that's the space that I rent, and well, as you can see, I don't exactly have that much room to play with, so I parked the car, had no chance of opening the doors, and yes, I had to go through the window. I did not manage to retain all that much of my dignity, but I did get the car parked up. Fortunately, this space is now empty, so let's hop on board, get this started. We'll take it on over. It's only a short little drive out towards Topaz, but this car, as I said, now about a year old. We have on the dashboard just shy of 2,400 miles. Let's get this started up. Go for the little drive to swap from the Pro to the Roadster, and I can't actually believe that I'm saying that. I'd love to do a proper photo shoot with the two of these together, but we will have a short little convoy to get them over to the Mercedes-Benz dealer, the same place that both cars were supplied, where I picked up the Roadster a week or so ago, and technically its first actual drive. I'll need to get it out of town at some point in the coming days as well. More surprises to come. For the time being though, let's head on over, go get it. I'll go for a short drive with this and pick up the other car. You are probably wondering, and to be honest, rightfully so, why do I currently have two AMG GTs? It makes very little sense. The two AMG GTs plus the SLS Black Series as well. Well, to be honest, I absolutely love driving these things, and the Pro and the Roadster are so much more different than you would imagine. I'd like to do a full piece about this, but even just my early days driving in the Roadster from the dealership to home and then to drop it off at Topaz, I was reminded how much more softer than this car it is. This car doesn't have the adaptive dampers. You can hear the noises of the cage. It's got a very low front splitter. It's a car that when you're on the racetrack is phenomenal. The Roadster obviously has an opening roof, and I'm going to set the Roadster up much more as a road car, so maybe we'll do some modifications and make it a little bit crazy, whereas this thing is very much track, which means I don't want to make it really loud, because if I make it really loud, then I'm not going to be within the sound limits. The weather right now, check this out, is bonkers. It was pouring with rain not very long ago, and it is now a blue sky and quickly drying. The only problem is we are going to make a little bit of a mess of the cars in the meantime as we head out through my favourite average speed limit section. And that is very sarcastic, because no average speed limit section is good fun, and in fact I've got the sun right in my eyes, which is also not ideal. But the two cars, like I said, very different propositions. Neither, well, the GTR Roadster is much more appropriate for the city than the Pro is. The Pro here in town, with speed bumps, with getting it in and out of my garage at home, just all a bit of a nightmare really. But it'll be interesting now to go straight from this car into the other car to get that direct head-to-head of what they're actually like and how they stack up against one another. This car has done, well, 2,500 miles. It's been to the Nürburgring, did a bunch of laps with it. I've had a great time, and it's going to the dealer to have its annual service, which you actually book in all online. Super easy to do, super easy to get set up, and just get that booked in, which is great, especially considering everything at the moment. So we have this reverse swap over, driving this to Topaz, both cars to the dealer, Roadster back home, and yeah, AMG day, as I said. The thing with this car, and where we are right now, is okay, but when you have tarmac, like you normally do here in the UK, which is layered with multiple bits that have been replaced and just has potholes everywhere, it is so firm and aggressive. Listen to the clunks that you feel, because it's such a firm setup. Obviously that works in Germany, it works on the Nürburgring, but on the normal road it's pretty aggressive. Now the other thing about the Pro is that you couldn't spec them, so it doesn't have adaptive cruise control, it doesn't have blind spot monitoring. These are small things, but in the current world and what you get with cars, we've come really to take them almost for granted on cars of this level, so not having them does render it a little bit impractical. As you can see in the sunshine up ahead, the arch of Wembley Football Stadium, I think we're about to have a ride. Speed limits? What speed limits? Anyway, we're nearly at Topaz. And then it'll be interesting for me as well to compare directly from one to the next. And here it is, looking magnificent in the handover bay where so many of the Shmeemobiles have been since Topaz moved into this unit a couple of years ago. But this car now ready, prepped and good to be taken out. The hyacinth red paintwork looking fantastic. The interior, of course, has been finished up with all of the yellow stitching, yellow seat belts. We've got the wheels looking magnificent as well. In fact, the entire car is absolutely perfect. It's also got the number plates on, the new ones with the best or nothing quote from Gottlieb Daimler, looking so much better when they're stuck on as opposed to being drilled. But of course we've got PPF on all of the painted surfaces, on the gloss black surface, and PPF that you can't even see. It wraps tidily around the edges, the bonnet one gigantic piece, but all protected so that it's going to be safe. No stone chips here on the front of the car, even towards the back. The bumper has PPF, the diffuser as well, parts that, well, are high impact or vulnerable, especially back here with the Cup 2 tyres, the way they flick stones up, so these parts are particularly vulnerable to getting chipped around as stones ping up, as you can imagine, whenever you're driving or doing something interesting. But the car with the roof down, it's quickly getting dark outside, unfortunately. It is that time of year after all, but in a second we'll get it on out, parked alongside the Pro, and then take the two for a drive. Out we go! The two cars are back side by side then, looking brilliant, and yes, it doesn't make any sense, but in a way it is cool and it's enjoyable, and I love driving these things. You can see some of the differences actually. Look at how much bigger the Roadster's wing is in terms of how far back it goes, and then on the Pro you have the extra gurney flap for a little bit more downforce, as well as the Aeroflix down here around the sides of the diffuser as well, but otherwise similar, just in gloss black instead of in carbon fibre. Same wheel but in different colours, the satin black and the titanium grey, but both with the silver rim around the outside. The sides of the cars and the fender pieces are identical, but then at the front the Pro has the canards, the flicks, where the Roadster doesn't. It just has the normal GTR style front bumper and then the less aggressive front splitter. Fascinating to actually look at these two side by side, both obviously based on the facelift generation of the AMG GT, so the updated headlights, having things like a camera tucked in, where is it, down here, the front camera for the parking, that you don't really notice unless you know it's there, but this looks much better with the new style number plate matching with the Pro. Two cars looking brilliant together, although now very much, as you can see, towards the end of the day and pretty cold as well, so over winter I will enjoy having the performance seats with the air scarf which blows warm air at you, before they then get replaced at some point with the buckets, which are actually over in Germany waiting to go onto this car just because of all the hold-ups to get it ready. For now though, let's take the two of these over to the dealer to drop off the Pro. Off we go then, following the Pro. So first impressions between the two cars. Obviously here we've got a leather steering wheel as opposed to the Mercedes Dynamica steering wheel, kind of like Alcantara. Obviously I have the roof down and it is instantly a little bit colder, so windows up, air scarf on, no, that's the parking sensor off, that's the one we want, air scarf on, heated seat, no, not cooled seat, heated seat. You can tell this is a new car, I'm still learning where exactly the buttons are, and instantly warm air blowing behind me, which is a very, very nice thing to have. Anyway, we're taking it easy, short little drive, I think with some traffic at the moment, about 20-25 minutes to get over to the Mercedes dealer, Mercedes-Benz Brentford, and their service centre. It's actually, this is softer. You can feel that on the speed bumps, quieter because of course it doesn't have the noise of the cage, and it's just easier in terms of ground clearance as well. It's actually really interesting. Obviously both cars have the same engine in the same state of tune, so the same amount of power, the same noise, the same exhaust system, the same setup. This just rides a touch more gently, touch more easily. Oh, that's cool. It's really nice to look at the Pro being driven in front. The two cars with basically matching number plates must have a lot of presence together. Both one of 750 each, 750 GTR Pros, 750 of these as well. I love this. This is what I missed so much of earlier this year, is driving with multiple cars together, a little bit of a cruise, in this case with the two AMG GTs, and the first time that I can drive this with, well, while being a little bit less worried about it, because even though the ground is completely covered in rubbish, obviously we are protected from stone chips, and the recent experience with the bumper of that car was proof as to why that's necessary. Obviously this car needs a run-in, so I know in many cases it's a little bit boring to play by the rules and do what it says, but there's a sticker right there, it tells me not to use more than 4,500 RPM. I can maybe just go into Sport Plus for a moment, drop one gear just to feel a little bit of it. But basically, we gotta take it easy, we gotta cruise, back to comfort. Let's be gentle with the car. Super cool, super cool to have the two of these together. We shall get to the dealer, we shall get that car dropped off, and then continue homewards with this one. Something that I know a lot of people wonder is why the UK orders so many convertibles. People here love open top driving, even though we're rather famous for not exactly having the best weather conditions for it. But there's something about an afternoon or evening like this, where it's cold, it's chilly, but you're sitting here with the hot air blowing on your neck, the heated seats, the hot air blowing out of the air conditioning, the vents in front of you, and it just feels awesome. I know driving in the city is not exactly the best, it's loud like that when you go under bridges and things, but it's a different driving experience, and I always loved convertibles. I had my Vantage Roadster, my R8 Spider, I had a Z4 before that, my S5 Cabriolet. I always liked having convertibles, and other than the 675 LT Spider and the Vanquish Volante that I sold a couple of years ago, I've not really had much by way of convertible in the garage. So it's very exciting for me to have this car now here, to be able to set some plans ahead for the south of France. Well, I hope there'll be some plans that I can make happen. Obviously it depends on which direction travel restrictions and the like take over the coming period. But just to enjoy this, to be able to enjoy some open top motoring, just perhaps with a little bit more exhaust. So that's the thing I would love, but obviously an era of OPFs and regulations, WLTP2 and everything going against noise from cars, it's not the best if you're a fan of that kind of thing. Anyway, dealer is just up here, we'll jump on out. I'd also like to put the G63 in for its sound it makes from the parking sensors, and the SLS needs a service as well, so we've got a lot to get arranged, a lot of things to sort out while here. We'll go straight round to the service department and get all of this booked on in, wrapped up, get everything in the works. Well, it sure is very bright here, but the two cars are still looking fantastic together. Anyway, we're going to be leaving the GTR Pro for the moment, and I think when I come back to get that, I'll probably bring in the SLS for its service, because it's done so many miles, and also the G63 as well. I've been talking to them about those two cars also, and having to add the SLS to the system, because of course, being an imported car meant that it's not in the Mercedes UK system, which is a little bit complicated in its own right. Now though, back in the Roadster, roof back down, continue back home. Just as we were about to leave, it started raining, but it's no longer raining, which means if I can do this the right way, we can do the roof, of course, while driving. I'm not sure what exact speed you can do it up to. First time I've done it, I guess, when I'm moving. It wasn't 2+3 in the process. Just need the windows to come back up as well, he says. Do they come automatically? Yes, they do if you hold it. That's not too bad, is it? Nice and easy. Just like that. And then, obviously, yeah, put the air scarf back on, he says, which is that one, and the heated seat is this one. I've already learned. I turn that down, just a little bit of heated seat. Not too bad. This car, by the way, doesn't have the yellow toggle in the middle. On the GTR Coupe, if I just turn on some lights, the GTR Coupe has here the yellow 9-stage traction control. In this car, you basically press and hold on here, turn off traction, and then when it's off, this becomes the 9-stage toggle, which is kind of cool. So we can pretend we're on the Nordschleife and Morrow Engel 6 and 7 with the track modes for the GT Black Series. But obviously, new car will keep traction on, and I will turn off the light as well, because it's a little bit bright while driving. But gentle cruise back into the centre of London with the GTR Roadster, just enjoying it really, because that's what this car is. Just a very enjoyable thing to drive, to take it easy, to do whatever it needs to do. Back where we began, but with the white car swapped now to the red one. The GTR Roadster is home in the garage from its PPF, and to be honest, I suspect that this car is going to be seeing a lot of usage. It will probably live here, while the other cars are mostly obviously over at the storage, currently at Dunbarn. In the future they'll be at the Museum, but I can see having this car along with the G63 and something coming tomorrow that you're going to be surprised by and not expecting. So if you stay tuned this long into the video, you now know that tomorrow's is going to be a big announcement, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Today though, great to have this back. A huge thanks as always to the guys at Topaz. Can't wait to get this shot of all of the GTs together, well, the two GTs and the SLS together. The red, white and blue photo is going to be pretty cool. But now though, thanks again guys, stay tuned, big things right around the corner. That's it though, I'll see you very soon. Cheers!